The curse mark is one of the most iconic power mechanics in the entire franchise. So when the karma seal was first introduced in Boruto's manga, I couldn't help but notice the similarities between the two techniques. That then led me to believe that Orochimaru likely gathered intel on the karma seal itself, which is what led to the development of the infamous cursed seal. With that said, the point of the video isn't to theorize about the origins of either one of these techniques, but more so to find out which one you'd rather be implanted with if given the choice. To get to that conclusion, we first need to know the pros and cons of both, along with how they function at a deeper level. First, we're going to start with the karma seal, since it's likely the progenitor of all cursed seals within the universe. So, what is the karma seal? Well, the karma seal is what's known as a shinjutsu, which are godlike abilities that are neither ninjutsu nor sage techniques. These are instead classified as divine miracles, which ninjutsu itself attempts to reproduce by weaving hand signs and focusing one's chakra, which isn't required when using a shinjutsu based ability. Now, as for the karma seal itself, it pretty much allows the Otsutsuki to attain a form of immortality by constantly resurrecting within a new body. To be more specific, the karma seal is stated to be an highly compressed Otsutsuki backup file. This compressed file is then slowly extracted over time, and once all of that data is fully extracted, the person who implanted it will fully resurrect within that body. It's also capable of converting the Otsutsuki data within the seal itself to another person's component while still remaining genetically Otsutsuki at its core. That's how Boruto became 100% Otsutsuki while still retaining his own essence. Also note that the normal process of overwriting a vessel's data only overlays the Otsutsuki data on top of the existing human data until the Otsutsuki chooses to resurrect. That's why vessels such as Jigen retained his human form even though 100% of Ishiki's data was extracted within his body. With that said, what are the benefits of having a karma seal? Well, just like any other power amplifier, the karma seal amps the strength of the user to a considerable amount. This was first shown by Kawaki going from getting destroyed by Garo to then having the ability to easily end him simply by activating the first stage of the karma seal. This increase in power was shown once again when Boruto transformed into the version 2 state of the karma, thus increasing his power output to a greater extent. Now, it's important to note that the strength you gain from the karma seal purely depends on the power level of the Otsutsuki who implanted it. This then of course influences the strength of each state you're able to take power from. So in theory, if both Boruto and Kawaki has 100% of their respective Otsutsuki's data extracted, Kawaki's version 1 state would be stronger than Boruto since Kawaki possesses the karma seal of Ishiki Otsutsuki, who is stronger than Momoshiki Otsutsuki. With that said, you still need to factor in the user's base level strength and battle experience since the power derived from the karma is merely added to the existing power. It isn't a multiplier. Now there's another lesser known mechanic of the karma seal which is referred to as the true essence form, which is pretty much when the user taps into the battle experience of the Otsutsuki within the karma seal. Doing so is said to increase the strength of the user and their overall proficiency in manipulating the power of the karma seal. It's also implied that Boruto is fighting differently when he first used this form, which means he's overlaying the battle tactics of Momoshiki atop his own. Even so, the battle experience isn't all that since even though the Otsutsuki apparently possess over 1,000 years worth of experience, they tend to get outsmarted and outmaneuvered by mere humans. So while they might possess a lot of experience, it doesn't mean that it's quality experience. So the main thing you should take from this is that you have the first stage of the karma seal that provides you with a substantial amp to your power. The true essence state then provides you with an even greater amp to your power, and the version 2/horn state is the full extent of the power you can extract from the karma. Now there are other benefits to the karma such as having the ability to absorb chakra based techniques, create space-time vortexes that can allow you to travel to different dimensions, and also provides you access to the dojutsu of the Otsutsuki who implanted the karma seal. So now that we understand the pros of having the karma seal, let's get into the pros of the infamous cursed seal. Now this technique was first introduced in part 1 of Naruto after Sasuke was bitten by Orochimaru. This seal then allowed Sasuke to tap into this immense power that greatly increased his speed, strength, and overall potency of his existing techniques. Now the reason why this seal granted such immense strength wasn't just because it was given to him by Orochimaru, but more so due to the energy that it injected into Sasuke's body, which is nature energy. You see, the curse mark itself originated from Sasuke's former teammate known as Jugo. He came from a clan that had the innate ability to passively absorb nature energy into their bodies, which also led to changes in their body composition and a great increase to their overall strength levels. Orochimaru, after learning about this, studied them and performed experiments in an effort to replicate that power into other people. This power is actually what led him to discovering the Ryuchi cave, the home of the snake sage. Though as you guys know, he wasn't able to master sage mode, which is why he turned into a white snake. That aside, the only way to receive a curse mark is from Orochimaru himself, which will form immediately upon being bitten. So unlike the Karma Seal, there's no way you can be implanted with the Curse Seal and not know it, especially since it causes tremendous pain in the initial phases. Now the power given by the Curse Mark varies based on which stage of the Curse Mark the user synchronizes with. So first you have, well, the first stage of the Curse Mark, which actually has some sub-stages based on how you look at it. What I mean by this is that the user has control of how much the seal spreads across their bodies, and that then determines how much power they can take from it. Then you have the actual second stage of the Curse Seal, which changes the body composition of the user, similar to what happens to Jugo. Now this stage doesn't necessarily provide any new abilities, aside from Sasuke gaining the ability to fly using his new wings, but it does seem to amplify your existing abilities, thus unlocking advanced versions of them. A few examples of this would be the massive bow Kimimaro used to shoot Neji, Salkan being able to stay separated, whilst also creating another half using this clay-like material, which is something they weren't able to do in stage 1. There's also Tatsuya's Sound Genjutsu that Kabuto later used to bypass both Itachi's and Sasuke's Susanoo at the same time. So it might be the case that she only has access to this ability in stage 2 of the Curse Seal, but it's also possible that she just decided to use it while in version 2 due to the power buff it provides. By the way, I said before that the Curse Seal itself uses nature energy as its base power element, but it's more so accurate to say that it uses Senjutsu instead. That's because it's stated by Orochimaru that the Curse Mark is created using both his and Jugo's Senjutsu chakra. That is what is injected into the body of his victims. And as we know, Senjutsu is the combination of your internal energies and nature energy, which is naturally stronger than nature energy by itself. In fact, Jorobo said that the second stage of the Curse Mark made him over 10 times stronger than he was before, which is insane given the fact that Sasuke received a stronger Curse Seal from Orochimaru. Now I would say that this 10 times stronger statement might not apply to every Curse Mark user, since it didn't seem like Sasuke became 10 times stronger versus Deidara. Then you also have the fact that Salkan received a 10 times chakra amp and not a 10 times amp to his overall strength, which somewhat supplements the idea that all Curse Mark users receive different things. With that said, let's get into the cons of both of these abilities. So the funny thing about this is that both of these techniques have similar cons to a certain degree. The Karma Seal's main con is that it leads to certain death once successfully implanted, and it also leads to certain death if the process fails as well. In fact, an untold amount of children died during Jigen's karma experiments, and this number is untold because they lost count. So if you're unlucky enough to get chosen as a prospective vessel, you'll either die due to not being compatible, or after the data is finished extracting and your Otsutsuki resurrects within your body, which at best takes a little over a year. Now, you guys might say that Kawaki took multiple years to get to 80%, so you'd likely have the same amount of time as well. The issue with this is that it's implied that Kawaki only took this long because Amado was secretly feeding him the pills that slows down the process. In fact, Ishiki was confused as to why Kawaki was progressing at such a slow pace, which implies that this isn't normal. Now, the Curse Mark does suffer from something similar as well, since it has a 10% survival rate. So just like the Karma Seal, it's either you survive by successfully retaining the seal or you die. Then there's the fact that the entire purpose of the Curse Seal is to corrode the user's mind over time, which then allows Orochimaru to take control of their body. And even before it gets to this point, the more you use the power of the Curse Seal, the easier it is for Orochimaru to influence your decisions, which is a byproduct of a part of his consciousness being stored in the Curse Seal itself. Now, it isn't as bad as the Karma Seal, where the Otsutsuki can take control of your body temporarily, even before the Karma Seal finished extracting its data. But it does make you susceptible to Orochimaru's commands if you don't have the will to resist it. So in this case, where the Curse Mark and the Karma Seal gives you the same level of power, which one would you choose? Now, the reason why I added the strength qualifier, the equal strength qualifier, is since I know a lot of people only choose the one that's stronger because people only operate on strength a lot these days, so that makes it way less interesting. So given the choice between the two of them, which one would you choose if you had to choose? I personally think it depends on what your perspective on life is. Remember that in this case, there's no Amado to set up a plan to kill the Otsutsuki and replace your karma with a weaponized version of it. And even if you suffer a fatal injury and the Otsutsuki uses its body to heal you, thus preventing them from resurrecting within your body, that doesn't necessarily prevent them from temporarily taking control of your body. So even if that happens, you'd have to stop using the Karma Seal in order to suppress the Otsutsuki, which defeats the purpose of you choosing the Karma Seal in the first place. So even if you choose the Karma Seal, you're either looking at a life of torment where you can't use the karma, or certain death within a year. Then again, the curse mark has its own set of issues since it corrodes your mind the more you use it, and you normally can't control it when it's active. Now Sasuke was able to do this only because Kakashi used a sealing technique to suppress it. Then you also have to factor in that most users aren't able to reach stage 2 of the curse seal naturally, which is why they have to consume what is known as the mind awakening pills. Now the issue with these pills is that a major side effect of them is death, which is why you need to be placed in a near death state by Orochimaru's henchmen prior to taking them. So in any normal case you wouldn't be that lucky, and would most likely be stuck at stage 1. Now let's say Orochimaru does take interest in you specifically. He would in that case instruct his henchmen to guide you through that process, which in that case means that you'd likely be able to attain the second stage. So in a sense, I think it depends on why Orochimaru gave you the seal. If he just wants a powerful henchman, then how long you survive with your mind intact depends on how much you use the curse seal. Then you also have the fact that Orochimaru can only change bodies once every 3 years, so you might get some more time depending on when he last made that change. By the way, this also somewhat applies to the Karma Seal as well, since you might survive if the Otsutsuki already has a vessel. Then again, if they choose to resurrect in another vessel, you would lose the Karma Seal. Now these are all extremely unlikely circumstances, which means that it's all up to chance. So you guys decide which one makes the best sense to you. For me, I'll go with the curse mark since I might be able to use my will to survive and resist Orochimaru, and I might be able to find a seal that seals it off, who knows. But with the Karma Seal, I just can't find a way to survive. I don't know, like if I don't have the knowledge of what to do, that makes it even worse. But even with the knowledge, how can I create the pills that I need to suppress the process, and that only slows it down, it doesn't stop it. And then you also can't stop the Otsutsuki from resurrecting, and if you somehow die and they replace your organs like what's happening with Boruto, you still don't remove the Otsutsuki element from being present within your body. So the Otsutsuki could still take control, kill your family members, do something you didn't want to do, and that's just really annoying. So I'll go with the curse mark, and then if I die, it is what it is, but there's a higher chance that I might survive, you know. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, and also drop a like on the video if you liked it, and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.